Hello and welcome to our Key Stage 4 options video for PE. This presentation will cover both our exam option and the core PE offer that remains part of every student's curriculum and timetable all the way to the end of year 11. The vision and curriculum intent that we have down in PE, all students know about this, is defined by people, so PPPLL. In short, our curriculum intent is designed to cater for absolutely every student that attends our academy and equip everyone with the knowledge and experience to live healthy, active lives both now and beyond school, as well as catering for the excellence that we also see in our subject. So that's something that everybody should familiarise with and be aware of, because it links into everything that we do in your experience so far in Key Stage 3, into Key Stage 4 with your option to study an exam subject with us, as well as your core PE, which will be later in the presentation. So in terms of that exam option that we have, our new course that we're going to be offering for the current year 9 going into year 10 is something called the OCR Cambridge National in Sports Studies. So there's information on the screen there for you to look at your leisure. So obviously please pause the presentation if you want to have a closer look and then carry on as we go through it. Key Stage 4 PE is slightly different to Key Stage 3. So the first one to talk about is your exam option. And the Cambridge National in Sports Studies is our brand new exam course for this year that offers both level 1 and 2 qualifications. It offers a really broad academic challenge, as well as lots of practical and leadership opportunities and the chance for students who are passionate about all things sport to delve into lots and lots of wider issues around the sports industry, which I'll get into just on the next slide. We're really proud of our track record in terms of the outcomes that we have for students. Our 3-year average is 75% merit, which is equivalent to a grade 5 or 6 or higher than that. So all students that that join us with really good intent and hard work, they get the outcomes that they deserve. And many of our graduates actually go on to study sports-based courses at university. So on courses such as sports science, physiotherapy, coaching, sports development, sports business management, lots of others. So those are just examples from recent years. So in a little bit more detail, and as I've said already, please do pause the presentation if you want to have a bit of a closer look at these. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail verbally, and there's information about how you get assessed, but you'll probably want to know what it is you'll be studying in each unit. So on the Cambridge National, or CNAT for short, on the sports studies, there's 3 components that you study over the 2 years. So there's an exam and then 2 coursework units. So the exam is called R184, which is contemporary issues in sport. And the 2 exam units are R185 and R186, so performance and leadership in sport, which is your more practical unit, and R186, which is sport and the media. Loads and loads of interesting content across all of the different components, that really cover everything from sport and excellence to practical performance to some of the wider issues you see on the TV and read about in the newspapers. So to start off with R184, the kind of things that you'll study are about different groups of people, reasons why they do and don't participate in physical activity and sport, and potential solutions to the barriers as to why they choose not to. It covers emerging and new sports, as well as sort of the traditional sports that you'll know and love from your curriculum. We look at sport and values such as team spirit, fair play, inclusion, national pride and excellence. We go into a good amount of detail about the Olympics and Paralympics and those values that go globally. We look at etiquette and sporting behaviour. We always find it interesting when maybe people don't follow the rules as well as they should, and sort of the impact that has, and the correct sporting etiquette, and different examples of that. We look at performance enhancing drugs, the effect that they've had on the sporting landscape. We share opinions about it, positives and negatives, about using supplements and things like that for our training. We go into detail about major sporting events, things like the Champions League and World Cup in football, the Olympics and Paralympics that I've already mentioned, and a whole host of other different major sporting events. And crucially, we look at both the positive and negative impact of the bid process, why it's amazing for cities and countries to have and host these events, and the impact it has on their economy and their sporting sort of legacy, and also sort of sometimes the negative impact it can have as well. A really interesting part of R184 is the use of technology in sport and the positives and negatives of this. I have lots of conversations with lots of students out there about the use of the video assistant referee in football, for example. So it's a really interesting one to look at. There's lots and lots of content in there. I've just quickly gone over. This is the one that you get an exam on at the end of year 11. So this is the one that tends to be studied in year 11. Get you prepped up for that big exam on loads and loads of interesting content. R185, so the performance and leadership in sport, is essentially your practical unit. So there are the really important practical assessments in there. This is done through coursework, so we collect lots of witness statements and things like that about your performance. You get assessed in any combination of 2 team and individual sports, and that list is really, really broad. So if you have particular specialisms, then you'll be able to be assessed in things that you are really, really strong in. We look at your performance in both practice and competition, the application of rules and regulations, tactics, strategies, and your decision making in different pressured situations in those sports. You then assess your own strengths and weaknesses and build an action plan for improvement. So it's really specific and important to you. The other sort of half of this component is the leadership element. So this is where you get to organise, deliver, and review a sports activity session for children that are younger than you. You get to act as sort of the teacher, in the coach's role, and you think about what you would like out of an activity session, and then you deliver that. And we assess your abilities to be able to plan, deliver, and then review that process. So a really interesting one. The final component that I'm going to mention about, sort of the other coursework component, slightly smaller coursework component, is something called Sport and the Media. Absolutely brilliant content in this. So just to sort of go over it really quickly, we look at different media sources and how they cover sport, whether that's broadcast media like the TV, the internet, sort of streaming services, and print media, so like your newspapers, magazines, and how they cover sports in different ways and the impact that they have. We look at the relationship between the media and sport, and how the media raises the profile of sport and how they use each other to generate revenue, such as marketing and TV coverage of live sport. We look at the sort of, in some people's eyes, the really positive impact on that. If you look at things like the Premier League and the amount of money that's in football, and we also look at the potential negative impact of that as well, sort of with those costs being passed on to fans and things like that to go and watch the game. We look into wider global issues on sport and the media, and how sporting heroes and villains can be created or portrayed in the media, the effect that intense scrutiny has on athletes and officials, because there's no hiding for them, sort of, Twitter and all those kind of things, and every single interaction is sort of analysed in great detail for them, sort of the impact that can have on those athletes and their mental health as well. And we look at analysis of how the media covers and uses athlete behaviour both on and off the pitch, either for positive or negative, whether they're using it to try and sell newspapers or get people to subscribe to things, and how those athletes deal with that. So, a really current, up-to-date course for you guys to study if you've really enjoyed your PE so far, and you think I want to study this in greater detail. As well as our exam PE offer, which you can opt into to have as one of your qualifications, all students still have your core PE as you know it going into Key Stage 4. So PE is one of the mandatory subjects. You still get your lessons every week to come down and have a little bit of physical activity. You can cover a really broad range of sports. We do it as an options process, so we present to you different choices when you come down every single half term, so you can have lots and lots of different experiences, whether you want to try something new or whether you want to choose to try and excel in something with your friends. There's always lots and lots of different activities offered, and that usually happens as the seasons change. So we'll do sort of your football options and some different indoor options like volleyball and badminton, table tennis, trampolining during the winter, and then when the sun comes out in the spring and summer, we'll get you outside. Bit of softball, again, sort of traditional sports such as rounders and athletics and tennis are always on offer as well. And we're always looking to expand that offer if there's interest in doing something different. It's a very nice process for you to share what you'd like to be doing with your core PE time. We really try and help support you with learning about the physical, social and mental benefits of exercise. And this links back to the bit that I talked about at the start in terms of our curriculum vision, our curriculum intent, is that we want to equip you with skills and knowledge to stay active once you leave school. So that core PE is a really, really important time. The bit at the bottom of this slide is something for you to engage with if you'd like to during year 10, something called our sports leaders qualification. So we have an amazing primary link with all of our feeder primaries, where our year 10 sports leaders help out with, they help plan, they independently deliver some different events in a really wide range of different sports. They plan those and deliver it as part of their qualification and review how things went, and it really does build confidence if that's something you're interested in terms of working with children in the future. Like I've said at the bottom, it's a really fantastic thing if you are interested in working with kids in the future, because it's been a long tradition of ours, and we've seen some absolutely brilliant leaders come through that course, and we really hope that would be something that the next year group you guys are really interested in engaging with. So we'll share all that information with you at the start of the year. That's an opt-in process, so it gets you a certificate, a properly recognised qualification to pop onto your CV and increases your employability. So hopefully you found this short video informative and gives you a little bit more, it equips you with a little bit more knowledge about what is on offer down in PE from year 10 onwards. And obviously, if you see myself, Mr. Snowden, or Miss Booth or Mrs. Walker around, please do ask us questions about what you do at year 10, or if you want to learn more about the course, just stop us and let us know, and we'll be happy to speak to you about it. Many thanks. Bye-bye.